Well, good afternoon. And thank you, Neil, for getting this conference kicked off, and just very thrilled to be back at the Points of Light. Because as Neil was talking about, there does seem to be a lot of darkness in the world right now, and what this world needs is a lot of conferences like this, people that really want to make a difference. And so the theme this year of Service Unites, I don't think could be a more fitting theme for what we're facing right now. Also, very glad to be back in the city of Detroit, and thank you. But to see how much progress has been made in the last few years, and just looking forward to see the progress that will continue to be made in this great city. But Service Unites. Want to talk just a minute how we're all united in memory about Muhammad Ali. And when I think about him, I think of one of his quotes, and it's service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. And when you think about it, that's absolutely the way that he lived his life, and he did make a difference to others. The power of his words often outshone the power of his fist. In fact, my favorite quote of his, and is one that I'll never forget, is that he was so fast that he could get up, he could turn the light switch off, get back in bed before the room got dark. Now, whether he could actually do that or not, it sure sounded good, right? But anyway, one of the reasons that I wanted to be with you again this year is to give you an update. 2 years ago in Atlanta, I talked about 20 million volunteer hours by UPSers by the year 2020. And at that time, I think I had been announced as the CEO for about 10 days maybe. I was very new. And I'm thinking, I'm making a pretty big commitment in the first 10 days of the job. But I want to tell you, even though it was an ambitious commitment, and I thought it was a bold statement at the time, my fellow UPSers have certainly made my words come true. Because 2 years later, we're over halfway to that goal of 20 million service volunteer hours. Okay. In fact, in 2015 alone, UPSers across the world volunteered 2.35 million hours. And while I'm very grateful at the number of hours, and it helps us get close to our goal, it's really more about the quality of those hours than the quantity, right? I mean, the quantity is nice, but are you making a difference? So when UPSers are working in refugee camps, building schools and playgrounds, and working in disaster relief areas, that is real quality. That is making a difference. That's taking the experience and passion and using that to meet the needs of communities. And when we talk about volunteerism, we're really talking about people, right? That's what makes a difference. People that truly want to do something special. So I'm going to talk about one UPSer, and his name is Pat Grace. Pat won the 2016 Jim Casey Community Services Award. Jim Casey. Did it go out? How about now? Okay. I could hear myself fine, so I was okay. It was Neil over here going like this that gave it away. But Pat Grace is a 40-year UPSer, and he lives in Lansdowne, Maryland. And like many cities, this town has had its share of problems. But Pat and his family decided they really wanted to do something about it. So let's hear about Pat.
The family grew up playing a lot of sports, a lot of basketball at our local St. Clement's Church. And we decided that we wanted to do something for the Lansdowne community. LTA is a foundation we created in 2004. It stands for Leadership Through Athletics. And it's really a facility that is about basketball and about sports and about bringing the youth in and our seniors in our community.
I've been coming to LTA since I was about 10 or 11 to basically play basketball, get away from the neighborhood, get away from everybody. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything.
On Saturdays, I run basketball leagues for the kids. And we really talk about the fundamentals of basketball, but it gives me the vehicle to talk about leadership, about how important education is, about doing the right thing.
But look, keep your head up. A good team beat us. On 3, team. 1, 2,
I get asked a lot of times,
team.
is running the facility fun? And I easily can say it is the toughest thing that we've ever done. It's extremely hard work, but I grew up around my dad, and I've been at UPS for 40 years, and I've saw the great things that we do in the communities and what Jim Casey's done for our culture about getting involved in the communities.
It was a lot of fun. You guys got a lot better.
And the way I look at it is, we are the communities. We are part of it. We get our employees from the community. We get our business from the communities.
Pat, we in the Baltimore area are so proud of you. We're proud of you because you do the things we want every student and every family to know about. You do the things that have us taking pride in our region, in our city, in Baltimore, in Lansdowne, and you're changing the lives of children. You belong to us, and we belong to you, and we salute you.
All right. I'd also like to take this time to talk about some UPS volunteers right here in Detroit. And I'll just give some examples of what UPSers have done here. One is distributing bottled water to the citizens of Flint in a time that they certainly needed it, or distributing food for the needy in Oak Park, and also for volunteering at the Jackson Aware Shelter, which is a shelter for domestic violence and sexual abuse victims. I am very proud of each of their efforts, and I would ask them if they would please stand up so they can be recognized. So UPSers, please stand up. In case you didn't notice, we did give them brown shirts, right? Anyway, our global volunteerism, it happens in Lansdowne, it happens in Detroit, but it really happens throughout the world in the 220 countries and territories that we're in. There's no shortage of need and opportunity, right? Every community has something. So we decided just recently to form a partnership with Gavi, which is the Vaccine Alliance, and with Zipline. And Zipline is a robotics company out of California. And between the three of us, we're delivering life-saving medicines. Drones, we're using drones for that critical last mile. And we're launching in the first country, which is Rwanda, where we know that there are significant health challenges. So I'd like to close up with a quote from Robert Capa, a Hungarian photographer that has experienced many conflicts in Hungary. But he said, if your pictures aren't good enough, you aren't close enough. Think about that again. If we don't like the pictures we see, then we aren't close enough to what's happening. So this group, the Points of Light, knows how to lean in close. You have the ability and the willingness to focus, but more importantly, to act on the world's problems. There's a lot of people that will talk about it, but the people in this room are actually acting and doing something about it. That's the vantage point that unites us in service. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,